Welcome to Binge Watchers, where we talk about the stories and characters we love and the shows they live in. My name is Ron, and let's talk about season 1 of 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is the TV show adaptation of the 1995 Terry Gilliam movie of the same name. The show tells the story of a virus that ravaged the world and killed off most of the world's population. In the year 2043, a scientist decides that the only hope humanity has is to send someone back in time to stop the plague from ever happening. First of all, I want to say that I love the original movie. I don't know if it's one of my all-time favorites, but I do love it. The show is extremely different from the movie. It has the same general premise, but that's pretty much it. Especially if you're a big fan of the movie, I would say treat these things as completely unrelated. So for me, this show was constantly on the line between being just a fun show to kind of pass the time and a cool show that does interesting things. Obviously, time travel is a huge part of the show, and I am a huge time travel fan. I like to go time traveling in the weekends, like in summer. I was thinking of maybe taking my wife time traveling for our next anniversary. It's a bit expensive though. Anyway, I liked how they handled time travel here. It's very much a plot device in this show. A lot of the things that happen only happen because of time travel, but inevitably the show does use time travel sometimes as just the answer for everything. So it's like, but if he never went there in the first place, how do they still time travel? Shut up. But I didn't feel the need to overanalyze everything, and I was pretty comfortable just accepting the story the way it is. But they do touch on some interesting problems, like things that only happen because someone traveled back in time. Would those things happen if they didn't? Do those things always happen no matter what? That's something I find super interesting. Is their effort completely futile because what happened always happened? If in your future you travel back in time to meet someone in his past, that means that you always, no matter what, get to that point where you travel back in time to meet that person. But that also raises the question of fate. Okay, so maybe I did overanalyze a few things. So the time traveling aspect of the show is cool, the science around it always just sounds silly, and sometimes they just use it as an easy way to get out of explaining things. Something else I liked is how the show looks, the distinct differences between the future and the present, the past, you get what I mean. The show is generally pretty dark and often violent, but I do feel they could have gone a little bit crazier with some of the more artistic sequences. For the most part, the cinematography in the show is very standard. The fight scenes are heavily edited, and you don't get a lot of more special, innovative shots. Sometimes they do start a sequence that seems to be more artistic and kind of hints to the style of the original movie, but then they just cut away from it pretty quickly, which I was kind of disappointed by. About the story itself, you have the main arc about James Cole going back and forth in time, and then as the season progresses, you have all these different side stories that pop up. And those seem to fall into two categories: backstory, or things that may or may not tie back into the main story. And that's actually something I really liked. All of those stories seem to serve a purpose. There's not a lot of time wasting. Yes. There's not a lot of filler. If we see something, odds are it's going to pay off. The performances in the show are fine. They get the job done. There are definitely some characters here that could have had very powerful moments that kind of fall flat. I mean, it may be the writing, it may be the performances. Whenever they have to convince someone that time travel is a thing, sometimes it's gonna be pretty believable where the person will only believe something once they see it, and other times when the story requires it to go a little bit faster, then people will just go like, oh yeah, I mean, time travel, obviously. If you're a fan of the movie, maybe you were excited about the fact that they gender swapped Brad Pitt's character from the movie, Jeffrey Goins. They made him into Jennifer Goins, which I thought was pretty cool. But the character just ended up being the generic, crazy character where the show just have to keep telling you, ooh, look how crazy she is. She was fun some of the time, but I was generally pretty disappointed with this character because I mean, there was a lot of potential to do something really cool here in the same vein like the character from the movie was, but yeah. Bottom line, should you watch it? 12 Monkeys is a solid sci-fi time travel show. I would say it's more of a fast-paced, fun-to-watch kind of show rather than your next favorite show. I do recommend you check it out if you're a fan of this style because there are a few cool concepts here. Personally, I will be watching season 2 because I think this show has the potential to graduate into a better show. However, don't expect anything that resembles the movie. Now for the interesting part. Have you watched 12 Monkeys and what did you think about it? And also, what's your favorite time-traveling TV show or movie? Besides, you know, the obvious one. Remember, you can go to bingewatchers.space/vote and vote on what gets reviewed next on this channel. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. And if you're finding Binge Watchers for the first time, welcome. I'd like to invite you to join the Binge Watchers community. Come talk about TV with us. It's a lot of fun. But in any case, keep binging, and I will see you next time.